Hello everybody, this is the thejonnymar, and welcome to a brand new Let's Play series. In this series I'm going to be playing, as you can see, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for the NES. This is actually the version available on the Cowabunga Collection that came out recently for pretty much every console out there. I have a history with this game. It was one of the first games that I got for the NES, and I will talk a little bit about that history as we go on through this series. But we start off with this pretty banging intro song, an introduction to the Turtles, and then this little scene that shows you, of course, that Shredder has kidnapped April. Alright, so now we are going to get into this game. So unlike other games you might expect with the Turtles, this is not a beat-em-up. This is actually a side-scrolling platforming game. We do have access to all of our turtles here, and the turtle symbol does change colors there depending on the turtle you pick. We have a map there to the left showing us all of the sewer entrances we can access in this level. And then we can head right down into the first sewer that we start next to and start attacking. Now this game has some pretty bad lag if you're playing the original version, or if you're even playing the Cowabunga version without the enhancements on. So I actually have turned on both of the enhancements available for this version of the game, which is to reduce the lag and also the slowdown. And then it also reduces, ow, stupid foot soldier, the sprite flicker. So now we have our first mini-boss here. You're going to face these in pretty much every level of the game. And that was another foot soldier that we took out pretty fast. Now, despite having less slowdown and lag with this enhancement on, the game is still something that you need to get used to. Stupid foot soldiers. And your little spin attacks. We're going to grab the pizza here, because that does restore our life. And there's another foot soldier. Can't reach you, though. So let's head down into this sewer and continue onward. Ooh, we get a throwing star. But the game does require a little bit of getting used to in terms of the controls. There is a little bit of a hitch still when you press the attack button, and each of the turtles has a different range when it comes to their weapon. So they do different things with their weapons. Now, objectively, the best turtle in the game is Donatello, as much as it pains me to say that since I'm a Leonardo fan. And that is because his weapon has the longest reach, and it just does the most damage. And so his weapon does pretty much twice as much damage. Ooh, there's a full pizza up there, and we get knocked out. That is a dead-end room that gives you access to a pizza, but essentially you're going to take so much damage that it's not worth it. That is something that this game likes to do, which is have lots of dead-end rooms. Many of the stages are actually going to be maze-like, and so you're going to have to do a lot of exploring if you're going to want to figure out where you need to go. But you might also notice that the enemies are just not what you might expect if you're a Turtles fan. This game in many ways feels like a game that Konami essentially reskinned as a Turtles game. The only real turtle elements are the turtles themselves and then the bosses. And that is a power-up that allows you to not really, I don't think, become invincible, because you can still get hit if an enemy gets through your attack range. Ooh, boomerangs. Ow, see? But it does allow you to take out enemies pretty quickly. Boomerangs are the second strongest weapon, sub-weapon in the game. If you press the select button, yeah, no, we're going to skip that enemy group. You will access the sub-weapon instead of your main weapon. And boomerangs are pretty powerful, and as long as you catch them on their return, they will basically be restocked into your inventory. Now you may have noticed there that if you exit and re-enter one of the levels, you can respawn pizza. So that's a way to get all of your turtles back to full health, especially if it's easily accessible like it was here. If a turtle runs out of energy, then it is captured, and you lose it from your party. But you can actually find some of the turtles later in the game if they're captured in some of the levels. I'll go over that once we get to there. We will probably at some point lose one of the turtles. Oh man. it's a chainsaw guy. And he's dead. But there are different enemy sets that you can face in this game. So depending on the RNG, essentially different enemies will show up. Some of them are easier to fight and attack than others, but generally as the game goes on, the enemies will get more difficult. Most people are just going to pick Donatello because of his strength, but you can switch into the other turtles at different times as well. We do have our second boss encounter coming up. We've already taken out Bebop, and then Rocksteady stole April. So now, oh man, bugs. We want to get through this particular building, and then we will take on Rocksteady and try to save April. Let's get through here. Ow. You'll notice there are really no invincibility frames in this game. So once you get hit, it is very common. Okay, taking out your bullets, but geez, not hitting yourself. Okay, we're gonna implement the cheat strategy here. If you come up here on the crates and duck down and attack, when Rocksteady jumps, you will actually hit him somehow. And so this is a safe spot in this boss encounter. But we're gonna take out both of the bad guys here, the henchmen of Shredder. So now we've defeated, and we warp down as the music plays. And we're gonna save April already! Wow. We did it! We won the game! Except now the Foot Clan is going to blow up the dam! We have April's support, whatever that means. Well, I guess she's gonna tell us a little bit about what's going on. This is one of the most infamous levels in the game, and a major hurdle for a lot of kids probably who played this game originally, including myself. Now I actually got past this level as a kid, and level 3 was actually my major barrier to finishing this game. But the second part of this stage is very difficult, especially if you don't know what you're doing. Ow. Stupid foot soldiers. They really like to just sit back and throw projectiles at you if you give them the chance. And here's another one, using his little kicks. Now fortunately in this level there is a lot of pizza, so we get a half pizza up here, which I'll use to replenish Leo, and then, ow. And then at the top of the dam there is a full pizza that I'll use on Don. But on the title screen, in addition to the awesome, the awesome intro music, there's actually not a Konami logo, and that is because this game was published under Konami's secondary company in the United States at the time, which was Ultra Games. So you're probably aware, but if you're not, I'll let you know. Back in the day, Nintendo did not allow companies to produce more than 5 games in a given year for the NES. So essentially what companies would do is create secondary companies to get around that limit. So they would have shell companies essentially to allow them to release more games. And then they would just reskin them as whatever the shell company was. You're taking a lot of damage here. Now there is a full pizza up here for Don, so we're gonna grab that after we take out the mini boss here. Nice. Now Konami ended up dropping the Ultra Games label later in the NES's lifespan simply because Nintendo loosened that restriction. But for now, we have Ultra Games, and I believe this was one of their debut titles, such as it was. Now this jump is really annoying. It is very easy to mess it up. You have to essentially go over the edge. You'll do a little half step off, and then you need to hit the jump button. But we're on top of the dam. So let's drop into the water for one of, again, the most infamous stages in gaming, especially from this era of the game. And that is the dam stage in the water, where we have to disable all of these bombs. So there are currents under the water that'll sometimes push you to the left or the right. You have these energy barriers. You have that seaweed, which you get into will cause you to instantly die. And then this seaweed up here will basically cause damage to you if you hit it and cause a shock effect somehow. So there are numerous bombs we have to disable throughout the level. And we will do that, trying to use the most efficient route possible. Come on, Leo. Don't get hit. Now, depending on what quality you're watching this on YouTube, you may notice kind of a shimmer effect in the background. That is something that seems to happen with the Cowabunga Collection if you're watching on a lower quality than the native quality, which is 1080p. So if you are noticing that shimmer effect and it's distracting you, then I would suggest switching to the highest quality, which is 1080p. And that should get rid of the shimmer effect. But this is hard to get out of because there's a current pushing you backwards, and then this next screen is pure hell. Here we have lots of seaweed doing lots of damage. So we're going to make liberal use of our turtles here to try to get all the way to the end without any of them dying. Because if you die, the bombs do stay deactivated, but you still have to get all the way through the level to the end. And this is something that I ended up like using sort of to my advantage, I guess, so to speak. As a kid, I would skip one of the bombs early in the level, and then I would go all the way to the end with my turtles, and then I would just let one die, so that when I restarted, I could just deactivate the bomb at the beginning. And that was before I kind of knew how to get all the way to the end in the time limit. But we're almost there. Just a little bit further to go. This is another little gauntlet area. Lots of very dangerous stuff to deal with. Ow, and then we have a current pushing us to the right. But that is the final bomb. We're just gonna push through, and okay. And we did it. First 2 worlds of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles completed. But as I was saying earlier, it's like, this game just does not feel like a Turtles game. The enemies are kind of unusual enemies that don't really fit into the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles world, other than the bosses. And again, it wasn't really what people expected. A platformer. People were kind of expecting a beat 'em up similar to the arcade game, which did happen with the sequel. Well, Shredder is so menacing here that he is sticking his hand out of the TV screen. 3D effects before there was real 3D. So they haven't kidnapped April anymore, but now they have Splinter. And this is actually the main crux of the game. You need to get Splinter back, and then Shredder apparently has some sort of a transformation gun that we're going to use to turn Splinter back into a human. But World 3 is huge, and we'll start that in my next episode. Before we end things off here, though, I do want to show you one of the features of the Cowabunga Collection. You can quick save, which I'll be using in between episodes to save my progress. But we get little tip books here. So they tell you a little bit about the game, and then they give you some tips about various things in the game to sort of look out for. Now the first tip is what we've already done, which is the secret kind of safe spot when fighting Rocksteady. And then the second tip tells you about boomerangs, that if you want to give them to other turtles, you can throw them and then switch to a different turtle, and then they will collect whatever the boomerangs are. So as always, viewers, thank you for the continued support. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you all in my next episode, where we'll take on the next 2 worlds of this wonderful game that is not as difficult as people remember it being. So long. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please press like and leave a comment below. Please also subscribe to my channel and press the notification bell. See you next time.